In the early days of aviation, when airplanes were still new inventions and the sky was considered a dangerous frontier, one woman dared to dream of flying higher than anyone expected. Her name was Bessie Coleman, and her determination would change history forever. Bessie Coleman was born on January 26, 1892, in Atlanta, Texas. She grew up in a large family as one of 13 children. Her parents were hardworking, people who struggled to make ends meet. Like many families in the rural South at the time, they worked long hours as sharecroppers, picking cotton and doing whatever labor was necessary to survive. Life for the Coleman family was not easy. Poverty was constant, and opportunities were limited, especially for Black families living in the segregated South. But even as a young girl, Bessie showed a strong spirit and an eagerness to learn. She loved school and worked hard whenever she had the chance to attend. Often she had to walk several miles just to reach the small one-room schoolhouse where she studied. Education was important to her, and she believed that knowledge could open doors that poverty tried to keep closed. As Bessie grew older, she began to imagine a future far beyond the cotton fields of Texas. She dreamed of adventure, travel, and a life that was larger than the world she had known as a child. Eventually, she moved north to Chicago, Illinois, joining many African Americans who were seeking better opportunities during the early years of the Great Migration. In Chicago, Bessie worked as a manicurist in a barbershop, joining many African Americans who were seeking better opportunities during the early years of the Great Migration. While working there, she often listened to customers tell exciting stories about World War I pilots who had flown airplanes in daring missions across Europe. These pilots were seen as heroes. They flew powerful machines high above the clouds, performing dangerous maneuvers that few people could even imagine. Those stories fascinated Bessie Coleman. The more she heard about aviation, the more she became convinced that she wanted to become a pilot herself. At the time, aviation was still a brand new field. Flying was risky and required incredible courage. Yet Bessie believed that she had the determination needed to succeed, so she began applying to flight schools in the United States. But every school rejected her. Some refused her because she was a woman, others refused her because she was Black. In a society deeply divided by discrimination and segregation, many people believed someone like Bessie Coleman had no place in aviation. But Bessie refused to accept that answer. Instead of giving up on her dream, she began searching for another path forward. Friends and supporters in Chicago encouraged her to look beyond America for opportunities. At that time, France was considered one of the best places in the world to learn how to fly. If Bessie could get there, she might finally have the chance she had been denied in the United States. Determined to succeed, she began studying the French language while saving money for the journey. It was not easy, but she remained focused on her goal. In 1920, Bessie Coleman traveled across the Atlantic Ocean to France to pursue her dream. There, she enrolled in a respected aviation school and began training on the early aircraft of the time. These airplanes were fragile machines made mostly of wood and fabric. The cockpits were open to the wind, and pilots had very little protection from the elements. Flying them required incredible skill and bravery. Despite the danger, Bessie Coleman quickly proved herself to be a talented and determined student. She spent countless hours learning how to control the aircraft, navigate the skies, and perform the complex maneuvers required of a pilot. Then, in 1921, she achieved something extraordinary. Bessie Coleman earned her international pilot's license from the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale, becoming the first Black woman in the world to hold such a license. Her accomplishment was historic. When she returned to the United States, she was welcomed with excitement and admiration. Newspapers wrote about her remarkable journey, and many people were amazed by the woman who had crossed an ocean to achieve her dream. But Bessie Coleman was not satisfied with simply becoming a pilot. She wanted to inspire others. Since commercial aviation was still developing, she decided to perform in air shows, where pilots demonstrated daring aerial tricks and stunts for large audiences. These shows were thrilling events where spectators gathered to watch airplanes perform loops, dives, and spins high above the ground. Bessie quickly became known for her fearless flying and dramatic performances. She performed dangerous aerial maneuvers that required exceptional skill and courage. Crowds were amazed by the sight of a woman soaring through the sky with confidence and precision. Because of her bold performances, she became known as Queen Bess. Yet even as her fame grew, Bessie Coleman remained focused on something greater than her own success. She dreamed of opening a flight school where African Americans could learn to fly. At that time, opportunities in aviation were almost non-existent for Black men and women. Bessie believed that creating a school would allow future generations to pursue careers in aviation and engineering. Her vision was not only about flying, it was about breaking barriers and creating opportunity. Sadly, Bessie Coleman's life was cut short in 1926 during a test flight in Florida. While preparing for an upcoming air show, the aircraft she was riding in experienced a mechanical failure. She was only 34 years old. Although her life ended far too soon, Bessie Coleman had already accomplished something remarkable. She had broken through barriers of race and gender in one of the most dangerous and exciting fields of the early 20th century. Her courage opened doors that had previously been closed to many others. Today, Bessie Coleman is remembered as a pioneer of aviation and a symbol of determination and perseverance. Her legacy lives on in the countless pilots, engineers, and dreamers who followed in her path, because Bessie Coleman proved something powerful to the world. No matter how high the barriers may seem, determination and courage can carry a dream all the way to the sky.
If you like this short documentary, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And thank you for tuning in.